So today at the Nerd Bar, we'll be interviewing John Jarvis from the band Scour. I told you things would be changing here at the Nerd Bar. If you didn't listen, that's on you. Let's do it. Just letting you know I forgot to set my autofocus. If you don't like it, you can eat my butt. Welcome back to the Nerd Bar. I have got John Jarvis from the band Scour.
Hey, thanks for having me.
If you are not familiar with Scour at all, it is got the lead singer from Pantera, Phil Anselmo, in it, as well as your cousin, correct?
Adam, yes.
Adam Jarvis.
From Misery Index.
Pig Destroyer.
Pig Destroyer, about 50 other bands.
Yeah, right. So I've got some questions here.
Okay.
I wrote down hundreds of questions. So, first off, can I offer you a beer?
Thanks, but no thanks.
Okay.
Quit a few years back.
Super sour candy?
I don't know. What is it?
Super sour. Mexican sucker? Pop rocks?
Pop Rocks, definitely.
There you go. Fake mustache? You
Yes.
good? Yeah. All right. So, let's get down to business.
All right.
Now, for those of you who don't know, me and John have been friends for a long time. We were actually roommates at one point. We grew up listening to bands like Pantera and Sepultura and things like that. Now you play with those people. What's that like?
It's crazy, man. Playing with Max, we did a couple shows at it was New England Hardcore Metal Fest, and he asked me to play a Sepultura song with him, and then a couple nights before that, same thing, we did an impromptu show with Soulfly, and he asked me to do a different Sepultura song, so it's just an honor, man. It's crazy, but and the Phil stuff's the same way. Anytime we play Pantera stuff, it's crazy to think about. I think about the first times I heard those songs was right back in this area in Troy, on the back roads, and
Yep.
on the way to school, and pop in the cassette from Cowboys from Hell, and that's how we went to school in the morning.
Well, remember we went to the concert, Pantera, White Zombie, and the opening bands was a band called I Hate God and a band called Deftones.
Right.
First time ever heard Deftones, so that's pretty cool.
Right, that was the first time I saw them live, of course, and yeah, I Hate God I toured with recently too. They're cool guys, but they were. I remember back then I wasn't that big a fan.
No, I wasn't either. Actually, I've never ever listened to them again. No offense to them, it just never
They didn't have the best show. I think they had technical issues maybe, but yeah.
Yeah. Plus, there were pretty big shoes to fill there. You had White Zombie.
Right, the fans were there
Pantera.
to see Pantera, and yeah, that was a legendary tour, man. And one of my favorite bands now is the Deftones. So,
Which I remember getting that album right after that and being like, well, those guys were good. And then they had I think they were giving out little tapes or something, back when they had tapes.
yeah, they're good.
One or two songs or something.
The promo for the first record.
Right.
Yeah, Madonna signed them to her record label. So yeah, it was a big deal. A lot of hype behind them back then.
Is there a lot of heavy metal bands on Madonna's?
I don't think so. And I don't know if she's still doing that anymore. I think they've moved on a couple albums back.
Is that called Cone Boobs Productions?
Should have
We have a
been.
good time. Obviously you play bass in the band Scour, but you are a guitar player. You consider yourself a guitar player who plays bass in this band, or do you consider yourself a bass player?
Well, probably the first way around, because I started with guitar, and I just kind of... I don't know if you know the whole story, but it was the All Will Fall story, where I booked them for a Point Fest, Battle for Point Fest gig, and they called me up and said the bass player, who was Josh Gamboa at the time, he said that he can't make it. He had to go to a wedding or something, that I had to call back and cancel. And I said, well, I'll just learn the songs myself. that's what it takes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big gig for you guys. It was at Pops. They'd never played Pops at that point. And so they're like, okay. And they taught me the songs. And then we went to practice. And when we showed up to practice, all the gear was gone. Turns out the guitar player had pawned off all the gear. And he made up this whole story about someone stole it and then blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden the gear comes back mysteriously. Oh, now I'm ready to jam. And he left the tag from the pawn shop on the speaker. So that
crack.
was
Gotta love it.
he was kicked out of the band, and they just told me to and Gamboa moved to guitar, and I just stayed on bass. And so then I was like, well, I better get a bass and a bass amp. So
Do you like playing bass better?
yeah, I mean I've learned that it's the most important instrument in music, and my argument would be that if you look at the top 10 or top 20 hits today, if you pulled up whatever Billboard, they would all have bass in them. Every song.
Mm-hmm.
Not every song is going to have real drums in it. Not every song is going to have guitar in it.
This is true.
So, but guaranteed, everyone will have bass. So,
Look at Billie Eilish. Didn't she make that stuff on a Casio keyboard in her room or something?
Right.
Like Ross did on Friends. Wow.
Yeah.
When it comes to bass, the first thing that comes to my mind is Les Claypool.
Right.
The dude who turned the bass into the headlining instrument of the band. Very cool. Seen him a couple times too, which is pretty awesome. Primus is a great band. If you've never seen them, then you should. Even though they're much older now, but
Right. Well, they're still touring, but they just did with Phil and the Illegals and Slayer, and it was Ministry was the other band on Slayer's final tour. And I went to a couple dates and got to see Primus, and they played the hits, you know, and they were great live. And a quick story would be, we played with them at Hellfest once in France, and but me and Derek really wanted to see Primus, and we're like, I wonder if we could watch from the side of the stage, because everyone behind at Hellfest, when you're an artist, you're all backstage and there's not much going on. You could just kind of walk to any stage you want, and there was no one on the side of the stage, and we figured that was because they were blocking it off because it was such a big band playing. You know, Primus is a big deal.
right.
And we understood, but I asked the guys, like, is it okay if we stand up, you know, next to the side of the stage? And he said, yeah, why don't you go to the guest wedge?
The guest wedge.
The guest wedge. So it's a monitor for the guests on the side of the stage, so they can hear a better mix, because of course the band's playing towards the crowd. All the speakers are pointed towards the crowd. They're not pointed to the side of the stage.
Right.
But Primus thought, I'm going to give the guests on the side their own mix. So it's me and Derek at this little guest wedge, and the guy comes over during like the second song, and we're rocking out, and he goes, how's it sound? I go, well, I could use a little more Les Claypool in the mix. And the guy goes over and turns up the bass, and I'm like, yep, there it is.
That's awesome.
More Les Claypool in the mix.
That's cool.
The guest wedge. So yeah, that's, and I had the idea, so the next night I was like, 2 guest wedges. We're taking it to the next level.
Wow. When I hear guest wedge, it makes me think of like a pizza you're not supposed to eat or something. It's a nice hotel. Like, sorry, that's the guest wedge. You don't get that.
you don't
get that.
You know.
Now, what is what you would consider to be the most famous musician you have met?
Ooh. Robert Plant.
You met Robert Plant?
Yeah.
Damn.
I was at living downtown, right across from the Arch, 4th Street, the Mansion House, and my dad was working at the Four Seasons Hotel doing overnight room service, so he waited on ZZ Top. He had stories with Dave Matthews Band and Rush and all kinds of rock stars. But one day he calls up and he said, you're not going to believe this, but sitting at the bar by himself, Robert Plant right now. If you walk down here, you can meet Robert Plant. And I walked, I made it, I ran. I show up, I go to the bar, I'm sitting just a couple seats down, and I don't even know what to say to him, you know. But I'm just like, kind of like, hey, how you doing? He gives me like a how you doing. Wow. But that was the first time I was so starstruck. I was like, I can't even talk to this guy. I can't believe I'm sitting right next to
He
Robert
is
Plant.
a god. I mean,
Right.
wow.
So yeah, that'd probably be the biggest one.
Well, I need a refill here. Okay, then the exact opposite. Well, I guess it wouldn't be the exact opposite, but who is a band's music that you can't stand, that you absolutely think is trash, and you can't stand it when you hear it?
Oh, man.
I know the easy ones are like Nickelback, even though Nickelback had some great first two albums, but to me, you know, I would have to say, who's that band that does that song, Karma Police? And
Radiohead?
Radiohead.
No,
I can't stand Radiohead.
See, you got to get used to his voice. I like Radiohead, so I won't throw them.
Not
in.
me. Not me.
Yeah, I don't want to throw too many bands under the bus, of course.
Well, it doesn't have to necessarily be like in your genre, but it could be like
Right.
even pop music today.
Well,
like,
it's the pop country stuff is what I really.
Oh,
Anytime I
yeah.
hear any of that, I'm a tractor, and they're rapping, and it's like
all pandering bullshit. Is all it is. As long as you say whiskey, blue jeans, white shirt, and truck.
back roads.
Yeah, and a back road. That's it. Then you have a country song. I can make a country song right now if I wanted to. Drinking beer in my blue jeans and white shirt, driving around in my truck on the back road. Number one hit. Boom.
Right. So yeah, anytime I hear some of that, I kind of cringe up and kind of just laugh at how can anyone listen to this stuff. But there is great country still coming out too, and there's of course a bunch of old country music that's great. But
Well, Chris Stapleton to me is something that I don't know if you even really consider that country, but that's something to me. I got his first album when it came out. It's pretty badass, and it's not really my type of music. I'm not a country fan. Sorry if that bothers anybody, but eat my butt.
Sturgill Simpson would be a guy that's kind of mainstream and country that I can handle that. But yeah, there's that I can't. The Nashville scene these days, not a fan.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. I'm not a big fan of most music, like pop music nowadays. All sounds the same. Everybody's doing the same crap. And then when you listen to the radio, which I don't really listen to the radio, I listen to Sirius XM most of the time.
Uh-huh.
But there's like 7 songs. It's like the world has only 7 songs, and they just repeat those 7 songs. Like when you go to the grocery store and you're hearing this dumb song, like, God, this sucks. And you go in the grocery store, come out, and it's the same goddamn song when you come back out. That's because it's just repeated. But I don't know. I can't stand any new music. I like, a big wide range of music. Of course, I'm a big Beatles fan, Led Zeppelin, Elton John, and then I'm a big Pantera fan, Megadeth, Slayer, things like that. But the new stuff, I don't know. I just don't get it. Yeah, you can call me old or whatever you want, but
Yeah, well, we were kind of lucky when we grew up. It was kind of like the final era before the digital, like when anyone could put out music and things kind of got diluted, and like we could write a country song and record it today and have it on Spotify within 3 weeks, and that's how easy it is these days. Well, back then you had to rent out studio time, which cost a lot of money, and then and so like I remember recording just 1 or 2 songs back in the '90s was $700-800, and that's before you're getting it mixed and mastered, and it's just nowadays you could do it all on your phone. So like the quality, it's just the quality was better back then all around, and there was just a lot of new instruments, like the 80s music. Some people don't love. I love the 80s music, all of it.
I like some of it. I like Safety Dance and Men at Work and things like that,
Well, I was talking about Men at Work just the other day because my dad's record collection he had the Men at Work record. It's a yellow. It kind of had this looks like an amplifier with a little twirly cable going into it. But I remember the saxophone guy in the video, and I'm like, I want to play the saxophone. This band is so cool. And then I never played the saxophone.
I actually played the saxophone. I played the saxophone for like 3 years, the alto sax, and I was really good. And then I picked up one maybe a year ago, and I didn't even know what to do with my hands. Like I forgot everything. Like I was trying to blow into the big part, like I didn't know shit because I just forgot a lot of it.
Well, you gotta learn that lick, I guess. And then, what's the other one? The Careless Whisper.
Oh yeah.
You gotta You got to learn that one too.
Yeah, right. And then apparently Rick Astley's had a great comeback lately with the Rickroll thing.
That's right. See,
some of it was good. I'll take lots of 80s over most of anything that's been out in the last 5 years, except for a couple like Alt J, things like that. And I'm a big Black Keys fan, so I like all the stuff they put out. But
yeah,
even some of my favorites like Beck are coming out with songs that kind of like are doing what people are doing today, like that Party All Night or whatever.
See, I remember I think we went to a Beck concert.
We did.
And that was when
that was on the Mutants tour, I believe.
Midnight Vultures tour.
Was it Midnight Vultures?
Midnight Vultures. And the opening band had Dwayne Dennison in it from the Jesus Lizard. I remember that too.
Yeah. Bass player was dressed up with fake boobs and a wig. I remember that for Beck's band.
But that was like when Beck was like wild.
Yeah.
And yeah, was my favorite. And I know Beck fans that hate that record. And I'm just kind of like,
really?
I don't get it. My favorite Beck record is the Midnight Vultures.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, Odelay, of course, is pretty awesome. It's got a lot of good stuff on there. You know, like Hot Wax, Novocaine, Devil's Haircut, things like that.
Right.
But,
yeah, he was great. And I saw him live at this festival. Outcast was also there. It was a pretty.
Oh, wow.
It was 100,000 people at this thing, and it was in Delaware or something. But I was just hoping he'd play a couple, and he did. He played Devil's Haircut, of course, but he would kind of do different weird versions of the song.
Some of the stuff, yeah. Some of the, I don't know. Like it's like when you would go to like a Tool concert, and then they would have like one song they would play for like 45 minutes, and you're like, what the hell is this crap? Like, I didn't come here for this, Like,
you want to talk about the one time we went to Ozfest, and we were under the influence of a psychedelic drug, I guess it would be the best way. So they opened up with a song that's like a 13-minute song it's the last song off Enema. And it's a super long song, and the intro takes forever. And I remember we were like all pretty, and you said, "Are they going to play any Tool songs or what?" I was like, "I think this is a Tool song. I don't know."
Yeah, they were able to take No Quarter from Led Zeppelin and turn it into an hour-and-a-half song, and that's like their whole set sometimes. Like, dude, you got to be kidding me! Like, that kind of stuff pissed me off.
Right? Yeah, play some, and that's the type of stuff like Madonna. Like, I wish I could manage Madonna because she always plays weird versions of her hits and stuff. It's like, I want Madonna to play Borderline like it's on the record.
Right.
If you could just do that for me and play, some Like a Virgin and whatever, just give me the hits.
Even though we know better, Madonna. We know better. You know who was always really good for that was System of a Down. Yeah. I remember going to their concert, and they're actually very political, but they didn't run their mouth about a bunch of political crap and talking about the wars that were going on. They would play. It was almost like they could have been lip syncing for all I know, because it just played, and it was killer, and it was just like it was on the album, and it's like, that's what I came to see.
Were you at the first time I saw him was with Slayer, Mississippi Nights?
No.
So that was Clutch, System of a Down, and Slayer, Diabolus and Musica. And it was right before System's first record came out. So you must have seen him at Ozfest.
I saw him at Ozfest on the side stage, yeah.
So it was like noon, and the sun's beating down, and they were awesome.
Yeah, they played, what is it? Sugar!
Yeah.
I remember just being like, this is awesome.
Yeah, that was just the first record stuff.
It took me a while to get into what their stuff, but now, I still listen to their stuff sometimes when I'm working out or whatever, and it's like, man, this shit is awesome. This is awesome stuff.
Yeah, I met them back then, and I've been in touch with the bass player recently, and he was going to jam with Scour in California. We had a show at the Whiskey A Go-Go.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, I'm going to come out, and I said, well, why don't we do a couple Pantera songs at the end. Why don't I take off my bass, hand it to you, you play the Pantera song with Phil. And he's like, oh, that would be awesome. And I made a video for him, how to play it and everything. Like a playthrough video. Sent it to him, and he's like, all right, I'm ready. So show's coming up, and there's these huge fires throughout California. He's like, my house is about to catch on fire. I got to take my family upstate. I can't come to the show tonight. I'm like, fuck. So we almost had a little jam with the bass player from System. But he's a cool dude, so.
That's pretty awesome. You seem like you get to meet a lot of cool people. Now, not only do you play music, though, you do also have an IMDb page, correct? You have done some acting, right?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. Well, thanks to us, when we were kids, that's what we used to do, is make skits, and I kind of learned how to act just by doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't take any lessons or anything, so I kind of just knew what to do right off the bat. So it started when I was working the door at this bar called the Auto Bar, and they came in as HBO, people from HBO, they said, hey, we're looking for some real Baltimore punks. Do you know any real Baltimore punks? I said, why don't you look around? You can feel free to look around. I don't know what you're looking for, but...
What's a Baltimore punk?
That's what I said. I was like, I don't know what you want, but there's plenty of people into punk music here. If you're in the right place, So they came back and they said, okay, do you know any musicians? And I said, well, I play in this band and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, okay, well, can you be here tomorrow at noon? Because we got this political band that we can't tell you who it is, but we need someone to wear a mask and play and be a member of the band. So I'm like, sure, why not? And I showed up, and it turned out it was Pussy Riot. You ever heard of Pussy Riot?
Yes, I have heard of that.
So yeah, they're like this Russian political. It was like they went to prison for, I don't know. But anyway,
it's also the same thing that happens when I take my shirt off.
Right, the Pussy Riot. But yeah, so I showed up, and they realized, they were like, yeah, it's we need females on stage for this instead of males. But thanks for showing up on time. They're like, so you'll still get paid. Why don't you just be an extra today? Put your mask on and just go in the crowd, and you'll be in front of this crowd, and you'll still get paid, and blah blah blah, and you'll get you get a nice meal and whatever. So that was like my first real thing, was for HBO. But then they're like, well, since you were in your mask, why don't you come back tomorrow and you could be an extra in a different scene? And I was like, okay. So I ended up being in like 5 or 6 different scenes.
What's an extra make per day?
Well, more minimum wage in most cities. Like if you're doing it in Atlanta, you're getting paid minimum wage in Atlanta, which was like $8. Mm-hmm. So that's why I like play shows like Walking Dead, for example, that have to have extras in makeup all day long. They got to pay for them all day long, so they need to pay them the least amount as possible. So they do. That's why they pick Atlanta.
Wow.
Because it's cheaper that way. But yeah, it's I think it was $14-15 an hour. But if you go past a certain amount of hours, you get time and a half. And most times it's like they'll break for lunch, and then it's like, all right, we got to get these fucking scenes done. Like we got to get it. And they'll work till 1-2 in the morning if they have to.
Wow.
There's been times I was at for HBO for Veep with Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah.
The last few episodes they put together, they were like, it was pretty late night stuff, and I'm like, jeez, just get this over with, please. And people like cough, like it's just like kind of like if someone would walk in here right now, we got a cut, and
right.
It's like that. There's be people coughing, and
so you had speaking roles.
Well, I had a couple. I did. One was I played a cop. As Who the Bleep Did I Marry was the name of the show. It was on TLC.
Oh, I think, yeah.
Who the bleep did I marry? And like, I pulled this guy over, and I'm like, they didn't give me lines. Like, say what a cop would say, and I was like, oh, I got this. I've dealt with plenty, so this shouldn't be too. Then I was like, I said what a cop would say. Like, what are you doing in this neighborhood? Like,
get out of the car!
Right.
Just get out of the car!
Right. I actually did a scene where I had to shoot a guy on a different show. That was Evil Ken, I think. And it shows me chasing the guy down the street. He throws like a trash can, and I have to block the trash can. And I go around the corner and fucking point the gun and shoot him. And the first time they're like, actually, they told me to say bang when I shoot. They wanted me to say it out loud. And I go, okay. But the first time, I forgot. I was like, I did it, and then I go, bang, after I shot. Everyone starts laughing. Usually they get pissed because it's like, God damn it, you fucked up the scene, we got to do this all again. But they're like, and I go, well, that's what the cop would really do, probably.
Right,
you know?
right. That seems way more cooler than going, bang, bang.
Right.
Hey, you, bang, bang. Yeah. Wow. All right, just a couple more questions and we'll wrap this thing up. Next question. Have you ever killed a man with your bare hands?
No.
I'm going to put that down as maybe. If there is any celebrity in the world, since you have probably met quite a few, that you could punch in the face with no remorse, who would it be?
Whew. Has to be a celebrity.
Not celebrity, I mean anyone famous.
Anyone famous. Well,
no politics.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. But a couple came to mind, and I'm like, I better not say those.
Yeah, let's leave politics out of it. Any celebrity that you could punch in the face, and there'd be no repercussions.
Kid Rock. Can I say that?
Sure. Sure.
Like,
he's got a very punchable face, by the way, too.
He seems like, yeah. I mean, he needs a punch in the face.
Yes, and probably a week at the meth clinic as well.
I remember seeing him at Mississippi Nights. I don't know where you got that show. It's Monster Magnet, Head PE.
Yes, yeah, I think I was, yeah.
And Kid Rock. It was before Kid Rock got big.
Yeah, you're right, yes.
He was in a Winnebago.
Yep.
And Head PE was on this nice tour bus, and we were partying on Head PE's tour bus, and the singer goes, "You want to go party with Kid Rock?" And I was like, "No." They go stay right here on the tour bus.
I used to actually have the Kid Rock Simpsons. I think I might have gotten rid of it though, but I've got like the Who, the Simpsons version of the Who. I don't know if you can see them there.
Oh yeah,
and Mark Hamill. But I used to have the Kid Rock one, but I think I put it in a mystery box that I gave to somebody. But yeah,
I don't know.
I could punch him in the face. That'd be cool. Well, anyway, so that is it for today. John Jarvis from Scour. Check him out. You want to throw your links out there or anything?
Scour
you want to
official. You can Google us, and we're everywhere. Spotify, all that shit.
All right.
Can't say shit, can you?
Yeah, you can. You can say shit here.
Okay, shit.
This is a very cuss-friendly bar.
Right on.
So, fucking A.
Right on. Thanks, man.
All right, well, make sure to check out John and check out the Scour Boys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace and chicken grease.
Cheers.